She's a great player. She's a high IQ player. She adjusted really quickly to this league. Unbelievably quick to this league. And now it's about becoming not just a great player, but becoming a great leader for this team so that we can win not just a championship, but championships. And what does that look like?
Stephanie White isn't holding back now that the gloves are off. She's going to reveal every single untruth. Trust me, Sheryl Swoopes has been spreading the word about the Indiana Fever, and in her most recent podcast episode, she reiterates this.
Personally, here's where I think they didn't do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent, because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think she got the credit that she deserved.
White is correcting the record on everything from Kelsey Mitchell's value to the club to Caitlin Clark's immediate influence. But she's also giving us an inside view at the Fever's locker room that will make you wonder and chuckle at what Swoopes has been saying.
They're all hungry to grow and hungry to improve and hungry to be coached and hungry to win. And when you have three foundational players and your big three that have that mindset, have that mentality, and great things can happen.
Let's go back to the beginning of this year. Basketball fans were perplexed when Sheryl Swoopes revealed her Legends viewpoint on Gil's Arena. She stated that Caitlin Clark was in her 5th year at Iowa, but in reality, she was in her 4th, the season that she set a new NCAA scoring record.
So are you surprised by Caitlin Clark and the Fever's improvement since the Olympic break? 20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6 turnovers.
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yes.
When Clark took the court for her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, she disproved Swoopes' prediction that her game wouldn't translate to the WNBA. Clark's impressive freshman stats of 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and a league-high 8.4 assists per game earned her Rookie of the Year award and a spot on the All-WNBA first team.
She's hungry to grow and hungry to get better. And so, number one, again, that two-way communication. It's been a long time since I've played, so players that are on the floor, they know, right? Like they get a sense, they get a feel of what's working, what's not. My first conversation with her about X's and O's the other day, I was just like, okay, well, how do you want to improve? Like, what are some of the things that you want to improve on? And then we'll talk about how we want to do that. And then I talked to her about how I think we can use her to help her be more efficient, help her be more effective, to help our team be better in general.
The head coach of the Fever, Stephanie White, commended Clark for her quick transition and influence, seeing what other players couldn't. Clark was motivating her colleagues and guiding the team to their first postseason appearance since 2016.
I've never seen in the NBA a player that can throw the ball ahead on the break better than her. Or him, anyone. I had Isaiah, I had Hall of Fame point guard. Never anyone better than her. I also think that, like a lot of my great point guards, Hall of Famers, she could play off the ball so well because she knows how to move without the ball, and it wouldn't tire her out.
As Clark's success became indisputable, Swoopes changed her tone and started concentrating on other facets of Clark's career and performance rather than her initial assertions that her game wouldn't translate to the WNBA. This wasn't an isolated incident for Swoopes. Rather, it was part of a pattern of making audacious claims without supporting evidence, from Clark's college career to her WNBA potential. However, Swoopes wasn't done. She had a new target in her sights, and the entire Fever organization was about to make more contentious statements.
That players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I
don't want to be here.
Despite Sheryl Swoopes' assertions to the contrary, the Indiana Fever actually had a locker room full of laughter, support, and spontaneous team outings. Swoopes depicted a team in disarray, implying that players were desperate to leave because of Caitlin Clark. But was she even speaking of the correct team? Perhaps she was referring to the Sky.
The league sources, Weatherspoon had lost the locker room because of a culture that catered to the needs of a few players. Dear Lord.
The ace.
When discussing team culture, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Fever, wasn't holding back. She commended the squad's chemistry, work ethic, and Clark's positive influence. This is a far cry from the divided locker room Swoopes that attempted to pitch.
I don't think that any one of us can really probably understand, what she goes through on a daily basis. She carries a heavy load, right, with our league and with her abilities, certainly, but where we are from this tipping point in the WNBA and from popularity.
Speaking with the Fever players reveals a completely different story. Both Erica Wheeler and Lexi Hull emphasize how Clark's presence has improved team morale. She's all like,
she'll just throw out comments that are just funny.
Hull looks to Clark for assurance and optimism, while Wheeler explains how his humor frequently eases difficult situations during games.
What we do is have fun. With Caitlin Clark, who never takes anything serious, like I tell people all the time, she's really a kid at heart.
The message is clear. This team is united. That's not making drama. It's forming a team from management to players. Every piece of evidence suggests that the Indiana Fever locker room is a place of growth, support, and a lot of laughter rather than a powder keg ready to blow up. However, Swoopes wasn't finished yet. She set her sights on a new person who had been with the Fever through thick and thin. The allegations they were going to make against Wilder threatened to put Kelsey Mitchell in his crosshairs.
Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think she got the credit that she deserved.
Despite the fact that Kelsey Mitchell's breakout season was nothing short of spectacular, she averaged 19.2 points per game, shot 40% from three-point range, and guided the Indiana Fever to their first postseason appearance in 7 years. Sheryl Swoopes had a different opinion, claiming the team didn't give Mitchell the credit she deserved. Is there any truth to this audacious claim? Let's examine the facts. Mitchell wasn't just good, she was blazing. Her career-high field goal percentage of 46.8% wasn't just about her individual numbers, either. Mitchell was instrumental in the Fever's victory, which ended their playoff wait. That's the kind of performance that draws attention.
It's really exciting. I mean, certainly, you think about Kelsey Mitchell, and she's been through the lulls in the Indiana Fever franchise, and now to be on the other side of that, as a cornerstone. And every team has a big three, right? And you think about having a great wing like her, and a great point guard, and a generational player in Caitlin Clark, and a great post player in Aaliyah Boston.
So, did the Fever actually disregard Mitchell's efforts, as stated by team president Kelly Krakoff, who made it apparent that Mitchell was a cornerstone of the group? The future of the Fever depends on Mitchell.
We wouldn't be where we are today without Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, she's clearly a very foundational piece. She's got 7 years of being in and out of this building. She went through a lot.
Did playing with rookie star Caitlin Clark overwhelm you on the court? Clark's league-leading assists actually increased Mitchell's scoring opportunities, according to analysts who noted Mitchell's brilliance. This was an example of two players improving each other's game, and Mitchell herself didn't seem to feel underappreciated. Instead, she expressed her sincere gratitude to the Fever organization and her teammates. This wasn't a player feeling abandoned. Rather, it was an athlete who felt supported and valued.
I've always kind of flew under the radar. I've always kind of been that person or that player, very conservative, very an introvert. So now I get to see the flip side of it. And it's kind of funny. I can laugh about it because I know it's come from a genuine place, but I embrace it from a standpoint of like people not guaranteed to see me play, and now that they do, I just hope I do right by it,
What are we left with, then, is a star player finding her footing, a team realizing her value, and a story from Swoopes that simply doesn't fit reality. It serves as a reminder that sometimes the most dramatic stories are the ones that only exist in speculative minds, but Swoopes wasn't finished yet. Just when you thought she had exhausted her list of grievances, she turned her attention to another member of the Fever organization. Christy Side's departure was set to become the next chapter in Swoopes' ongoing saga, and I promise you won't believe what she had to say about it. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, but let's get back to the action.
I think Christy did as good of a job as she could have. Managing all of the craziness, all of the Caitlin mania, all of the hype, all of the media. It was just so much that came with that.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but it's not lost on me that the day after Christy Sides is let go is the day that Stephanie White stepped down from coaching in Connecticut.
Chris Sides guided the team to their first postseason appearance in 7 years, but she abruptly lost her position. Official remarks from the Fever contradict Sheryl Swoopes' idea that she was overtaken by Caitlin mania and should have been given more respect. The team's president, Kelly Krakoff, commended SI for her outstanding commitment while serving as head coach. This doesn't sound like a team discrediting someone, does it?
Can't say anything bad about the job that Christy Sides and her staff did. I mean, she did everything she was hired to do and then some, through tough, a tough first year of Caitlin and all the attention and everything that went with that. I mean, I give them a lot of credit.
What actually transpired then? Every piece of evidence suggests a professional strategic choice, and Koff made it plain that we must continue to be bold and assertive in our pursuit of our objectives, which include maximizing our talent and returning to Indiana with another WNBA championship. Instead of simply severing ties and moving on, Fever openly recognized Sid's achievements and highlighted how hard she worked to lead the team during a pivotal time.
Christy Sides did a great job. And as we move forward, my thought process was how do we maximize what we have and how do we jump on this opportunity now?
Instead of punishing failure, it was about setting up the team for future success. Enter Stephanie White, who has a track record of accomplishment and a coaching philosophy that prioritizes player development and communication. White is viewed as the ideal candidate to take the Fever to the next level.
Trying to think outside the box, not be tunnel vision in how we do things, putting players in positions to be successful, using what we have to our advantage instead of what we don't, and really trying to reverse engineer in some ways the way that I think about the game, and the positions that we can put our teammates and our players in to be successful.
What's the real story behind the scenes? It's a team making a difficult but professional decision to go after championship dreams. But with all of these rumors circulating about coaching scandals and locker room drama, you have to wonder how the team actually felt about all of this. It turns out that the Fever players had some things to say and their perspective, which may have put an end to this whole ordeal just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense. With a front row view to everything that went on in the locker room, Caitlin Clark's colleague Lexi Hull took the stage. Let me tell you, her perspective blew. Sheryl quickly refutes his assertions, and Paul didn't mince words.
She sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, you got the next one. I can count on her for keeping me confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the player that she is and the leader she is as a point guard.
She depicted a team that is united rather than divided and works harder for one another because we know we have each other's backs. This wasn't just chatter, she said. Remember all that discussion about Clark creating tension? Hull had something to say about it too, revealing that Clark's presence really raised team morale. She also offered examples that demonstrated how close-knit the Fever really was. I can rely on her to keep me upbeat and confident. Hull revealed that's a far cry from the divisive persona that Swoopes attempted to project, but it wasn't all serious business. Hull shared some of the funnier moments that characterized the Fever season. Imagine this, a tense practice where everyone is focused, and then all of a sudden, the music starts to play.
There was one practice, Christy turns on loud music because I can't remember where we were going, but we knew the arena was going to be loud. And so she turns on this loud music, and Caitlin screams, she's like, "Can someone turn it off? It's giving me a migraine." And everyone's like, what? And Christy reacted and said, "What did you say?" And she repeated it. And all of us were we were all dying because if I would have said that, if anyone on our team would have said that and then been asked, "What did you say?" and you repeat it, no one else is repeating it, but she did. And it was the funniest thing. We're all rolling on the ground laughing.
Paul went on to discuss how the squad supported one another in trying situations, and that if a player had a bad night, the others were there to offer encouragement. This is the type of support system that winning teams are known for.
All of us just kind of like stuck together, trusted the process, and realized that like the start of the season isn't the biggest deal. It's how we finish and how we get better. And really proud of just the resiliency of the group.
Swoopes depicted a scene of discord and conflict, but the Fever players spoke of a locker room full of support, laughter, and true camaraderie. The disparity between these first count and Swoopes' assertions couldn't be more stark. As the dust settled on this latest chapter of the Fever saga, it became abundantly evident that this team was stronger than any rumor or controversy thrown their way. They would face the noise head-on and come out even more united. This wasn't just about proving Swoopes wrong. The Fever players' united front sent a powerful message. They weren't just defending Clark or the team culture. They were showing the world what they were made of.
The biggest thing is finding people to kind of get you out of that cycle and get you to thinking about the positive things.
However, a significant question remained after all of this discussion about player bonds and team chemistry. What did this mean for the Fever's future, and how would this newfound unity translate to on-court success? Stephanie White, the team's new head coach, had some ideas on the matter, and I promise you'll want to hear what she has to say. Following her successful tenure at Connecticut, where she won Coach of the Year, Stephanie White brought a fresh perspective to the Indiana Fever. She saw Caitlin Clark as a high IQ athlete who had quickly adapted to the WNBA and as a future leader who could lead the team to numerous championships.
I'm not one of those coaches that is going to be set in her ways. Not one of those coaches that isn't, I'm willing to try new things.
White's strategy stood out because she concentrated on developing close bonds with all of her important players, such as Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. Her initial discussion with Clark wasn't about plays or tactics, but rather about how Clark wished to develop this player. Centered strategy meant to promote free communication and empower.
What's your approach when you're coaching greatness like that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just talking basketball, right? Just having general basketball conversations about what she's watching, what she likes, what are some of the things what are some of her thoughts from, not just what the Indiana Fever have done, but from the game of basketball in general.
The coach's approach was to let players use their instincts and play clearly at a fast speed. We want to create plays, not run plays. White hinted to a dynamic basketball style and incorporated analytics into defensive tactics, fostering a defensive and communication-focused culture. Our goal is to win championships and hang banners, White said, demonstrating her dedication to leaving a lasting legacy for the community. Her championship experience with the Connecticut Sun and her history of nurturing talent hinted at great prospects.
I also want our players to use their instincts and to play free. We want to make plays, not run plays, right? We want to have sets that give us certain spacing that we want, depending upon our rotations, who's on the floor, who we want to attack, what matchups we want to get to, how can we manipulate them. So we'll have certain play calls that just give us space to operate. And then whichever play we make, whichever pass we make, determines, one of three actions that our players can read from. And so really giving them the freedom to play within a system.
Her passion to Clark's progress was clear since 8th grade. White had followed Clark's career and kept in touch with her college coaches. Her meticulous attention to detail demonstrated her dedication to developing Clark's talent and incorporating her into the Fever system. As White outlined her plan, it became evident that the Indiana Fever were striving for greatness under her leadership. With Clark at the forefront of the court and a squad brimming with skill and promise, both supporters and detractors were left wondering if this was the beginning of a new era for Indiana basketball.
It's our job then as coaches to continue to put them in positions to succeed, and our job as a franchise to put the pieces around them that will fill some of the gaps and fill some of the holes. And ultimately our goal is to win championships and to hang banners.
When everything is said and done, Sheryl Swoopes' claims. Picture this. The team gathered together, laughing and telling stories over a post-practice dinner. The joy is evident as they look forward to 2025. This is the true story of the Indiana Fever. Stephanie White's idea of winning championships is based on a squad full of talented players, not just empty rhetoric. The immediate effect of Caitlin Clark, along with the goals from Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah, fans are on edge of their chairs because to Boston's dominance in the paint. Are you prepared for this new era of Indiana basketball because it's already here and about to get even more exciting? If so, let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a thing. The Fever isn't just showing up, they're aiming for greatness with leadership and a united locker room. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.